So we'll go over what the gist of TeamSpeak, TFR is. It changes the way TeamSpeak works. Okay, so TeamSpeak's like Discord. You can talk no matter where you are in the map, no matter what you're doing. You can talk to each other through that. Okay,
Yeah.
TFR changes the rules a little bit. So it's a proximity thing now. So for example, you can hear me when I'm talking to you like this. Okay, I'm right next to you. You can hear me talking. Yeah.
Yeah, wait, I'm just fixing this. Okay, yeah, I'm in again.
All right. So you can hear me talking to you like
Yeah.
I'm in game right now. Okay, it sounds like it's through game. It doesn't sound like it's in TeamSpeak. Yeah. Now, if you watch me here, just nod for me when you stop hearing me. TFR has a proximity thing where basically TFR takes control of TeamSpeak and it looks for you in game. And as you become further away from someone,
Yeah.
it will lower their volume until you can't hear them anymore. So as I keep talking, you'll slowly stop hearing
Yeah.
me the further
Yeah.
away you go. So when you get to a certain distance, like 10 or 15 meters, I'll go silent. You won't be able to hear me at all. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, if you alt tab out to your TeamSpeak, you'll actually see that everyone in game is actually muted for you.
Yeah.
You'll see that everyone's muted, and it only unmutes them when they talk. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's proximity based, and there's three different categories. This is your first keybind to remember: is control and tab. All right. When you press control and tab at the bottom of your screen, you're going to see it switch between whispering, yelling, and normal.
Yeah.
There are different proximities of talking. Okay. Whispering is 1 to 2 meters from the target you're trying to speak to.
Mm.
Normal is 5 to 15 meters, depending on shit that's going on around you, and yelling's about 20 meters. All right.
Okay.
So 15 to 20 meters. So we always ask when you're playing in the operations, you set yourself to yelling so we can hear you the furthest away you are. Okay. So yelling's always the best just to be on.
Yeah.
And if you were to go more than 20 meters away from somebody, they won't be able to hear you talk. You'll be completely silent. No one will hear you. Even though you're in the same TeamSpeak channel as each other, we will not hear you talking, okay? That's when the short range comes into play and we start using the short range radio to communicate with each other. So your second keybind to remember here, there's going to be a lot to remember. So either
Yeah.
just, if you've got a good memory, remember it, or write it down. Sometimes it's easier to write it down. Second keybind is left control and P. That will open up your radio.
Yeah.
Inside the radio, it's pretty straightforward. It looks a little bit confusing, but you've got three antennas on the top there. The middle
Yeah.
one is your decrease and increase volume for your radio. Left click will lower it, right click will raise it. You'll see everything at the bottom right of your screen changing when you left or right click that and toggle at the top there of the screen on the radio. You can set your volume to whatever you want it to be. See
It
that?
doesn't work for me.
The middle antenna, when you
the middle, yeah.
Are you mousing over it? Does it say decrease volume, increase
Yeah.
volume? Okay, and you're left and right clicking, nothing's happening.
No. Or does it change the image, or is it just still?
Look at the bottom right of the screen when you're pressing it.
Okay, yeah, yeah. Okay, it
It doesn't change on the
Okay,
radio,
yeah.
it changes at the bottom right of the screen.
Okay.
I usually set mine to 60 or 70 because short range can be very loud when it's right in your ear. There's a couple of options for sort of setting how you want to hear the radio, but we won't go into that because it's best for riflemen just to keep it as it is.
Yep.
Now, you'll see that on the screen there's C1 and then some numbers, yeah?
Yeah.
C1 is your channel, so your channel 1. Okay, that's what we use as channel 1. Your numbers afterwards is your frequency that you're currently using. We always run 310, so it's the same as the password for the server, 310. So if you highlight those numbers and you just write 310 into that screen, and then on the keyboard of the radio, you'll see a button that says ENT, that when you mouse over says set frequency. If you hit the set frequency button, you're all good to go, you're set. If you press escape to come out of the radio, it'll disappear and it's not in your screen or nothing's there. Now, the difference is you'll hear me talking now like this, okay? I'll walk away until you can't hear me, or I'll switch to whispering, and then you'll hear a little radio buzz. I'll start talking, then you'll hear it turn off, all right? So you hear the radio turn on, I'm now talking to you over short range, and then I'll turn the radio off. So that's your short range radio. Now your keybind for your short range radio is caps lock. Now, the only problem with milsims is that it requires you to turn your voice push to talk for Arma off, because otherwise you'll be talking in Arma and on the radio at the same time, if that makes sense, because the push talks are both caps lock. But you can do that whenever you've got some free time. So if you want to test it, if you hit caps lock, talk to us through the short range, we'll confirm we can hear you.
Yeah. Is it working?
No, it's not. I can hear you, the radio initiating and going off, but I can't hear you talking on it.
Can you hear me now?
Yep. I got you there.
Okay, yeah. Yeah.
You'd obviously hold it while you're talking.
Yeah.
Yeah. Same as like an old radio or any radio. Make sure you press the button, start talking, and then give it like half a second, and then release the button. Otherwise, you might be talking over the short range. You're not going to finish your conversation, you know. So make sure you talk your full sentence, then release the button. So short range is kind of like restricted in how we use it. Short range is mostly going to be used for squad lead to squad lead. So the two different fire teams are going to be using that to communicate with each other. For the likes of the actual guys in the ground, we just use this communication to talk to each other, to your fire team leads, okay? We don't use the short range radio that much. The only time you're going to use the radio is if you take a hit and you need a medic, you shout that over the short range. Sure. If you spot a target, then you shout that over the short range, okay? Anything really important, you say that on the short range. Yeah. But if you just need to speak to your, like, for example, your squad lead might be Helldiver, for example. So there's no point when I'm right here to go, hey, Helldiver. You know, like, there's no need because everyone hears that. All right, just go, hey, Helldiver. Like, I'm right next to you. I'll just talk to you like this, yeah? Mm-hmm. So try and keep off the short-range radio as much as possible. Yeah. It keeps everything clear, and especially for squad leads who are giving orders, if they hear you shouting in their ears all the time, even though you're 400 meters away, that it's going to get confusing, all right? Yeah. So try and keep off of it as best as possible.